Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to this enlightening journey of understanding how to truly let go according to the teachings of Buddhism. We often hear phrases like, let go of attachments, but in the depths of our struggles, it feels much easier said than done. Why is that? Because the art of letting go is a complex, deeply rooted process that challenges our perceptions, desires, and very sense of self. In this video, we're not just going to discuss the theory of letting go, we're going to dive into the real, practical aspects of how to do it, unraveling the wisdom shared by the Buddha himself. Why letting go feels so difficult. Imagine holding on to a rope attached to a runaway horse. The tighter you grip, the more pain you feel, and yet letting go seems terrifying. This is how attachments work in our lives. The fear of losing control and the unknown make us hold on, despite the suffering it brings. But what if there was a way to free yourself from this pain without losing your peace? That's where the teachings of Buddhism come in, revealing a profound understanding of human desires and the nature of impermanence. Buddha's teachings on attachment. One common misconception is that we must completely abandon all the beautiful things in life to achieve peace. People often misinterpret the Buddha's advice as a call to renounce everything. But the Buddha never said to eliminate all possessions or relationships. Instead, he emphasized the importance of understanding the impermanent nature of everything we hold dear. The Buddha once said, "They are not sensual pleasures, the pretty things in the world." A person's sensual pleasure is lustful intention. The pretty things remain just as they are in the world, but the wise remove the desire for them. This highlights the distinction between enjoying life and becoming enslaved by our desires. Let's unpack this idea further with a real-life story. A story of a man and his garden. Imagine a man who loves his garden. Every morning, he wakes up to tend to his flowers, feeling immense joy in their blossoming beauty. However, one year, a terrible storm comes and destroys the entire garden. The man is devastated, overcome with sorrow and frustration. This happens because his happiness was deeply attached to the permanence of his garden. Had he realized that nature is ever-changing, his love for the garden would remain pure but free from the suffering caused by its loss. The illusion of permanence. The Buddha taught that everything is subject to change, a principle called anicca, or impermanence. We often live our lives under the illusion that things will stay the same: our loved ones, our possessions, our very bodies. But in reality, everything is in a constant state of flux. Think about a river. You can never step into the same river twice because the water is continuously flowing. Similarly, our experiences are always shifting, and understanding this can help us embrace the beauty of life without becoming attached. A deeper dive into anicca, impermanence. The concept of impermanence isn't just a philosophical idea, it is a reality we face daily. Consider the seasons. Spring blossoms into summer, summer fades into autumn, and autumn surrenders to winter. We see change everywhere, yet we resist it in our personal lives. Why is that? Because attachment gives us a false sense of security. Let me share another story to illuminate this idea. There was once a wise monk who lived in a temple high on a mountain. Every year, pilgrims would climb the mountain to seek his advice. One year, a man arrived, desperate for guidance. "Master," he said, "I have lost my wife, my job, and my fortune. My world is crumbling. How do I find peace?" The monk replied, "Go to the river and try to stop it from flowing." The man was confused but obeyed. When he returned, exhausted, the monk said, "Just as you cannot stop the river, you cannot stop life from changing. Embrace the flow, and you will find peace. Letting go of the mental rope. Remember the analogy of the rope and the cow? Our desires are like a rope we hold onto tightly, causing immense pain. When we cling to expectations, we suffer. But if we release the grip, the pain vanishes. This doesn't mean we must give up everything we love. Instead, we learn to appreciate things without the need for control. The cow might wander, but it will return. The key is to let go of the mental and emotional attachment, not the object itself. Practical steps to let go. Understand the nature of desire. Desire isn't inherently evil. It becomes a problem when it transforms into craving. Reflect on your desires. Are they bringing joy or causing suffering? Journal your thoughts and you'll start to see patterns. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool for observing your thoughts without judgment. A simple breathing exercise can ground you and help detach from overwhelming emotions. Develop a relationship with impermanence. Spend time in nature. Watch the sunrise and sunset, the blooming and withering of flowers. These natural cycles will remind you of life's impermanence and beauty. Historical context and Buddhist concepts. The story of Prince Siddhartha, who became the Buddha, is a testament to the journey of letting go. As a prince, he had everything: wealth, power, luxury. Yet, he let it all go to seek the truth. His realization under the Bodhi tree wasn't just about renouncing physical possessions, but understanding the root of suffering: attachment. He saw that life is filled with birth, aging, sickness, and death, and our refusal to accept this causes pain. Modern examples of letting go. Even in our fast-paced world, the principles of Buddhism are relevant. Consider the story of a young entrepreneur who invested all his time and energy into building a startup. When the company failed, he was shattered. However, through mindfulness practices, he learned to accept the loss as part of life's flow, using it as a lesson rather than a defeat. Today, he shares his journey, inspiring others to embrace change with grace. The magic show of life. Remember the magic show analogy? Life often tricks us into believing in permanence. We get attached to fleeting moments, thinking they define our worth. But once we see through the illusion, we can still enjoy life's beauty without being enslaved by it. Just as knowing a magician's trick doesn't ruin the show, understanding impermanence enhances our experience. Embracing change with an open heart. One of the most profound lessons we learn from Buddhism is to embrace change with an open heart. This doesn't mean passively accepting everything without emotion. Rather, it means acknowledging the transience of every experience while savoring the present moment. Let me share a story from the life of an old fisherman. This fisherman spent his days on the sea, knowing the tides could be merciless, but he also appreciated the tranquility the ocean offered. One day, a devastating storm destroyed his boat. Heartbroken, he sat by the shore, feeling the loss deeply. A wise traveler approached him and asked why he was grieving. "Because," the fisherman replied, "the sea I love has taken away my boat." The traveler smiled gently and said, "The sea that took your boat is the same sea that gifted you years of beautiful sunsets and bountiful fish. Embrace the gift and the loss as parts of the same whole." In that moment, the fisherman realized that both joy and sorrow were gifts from the ever-changing sea. In our own lives, we often become attached to the things that bring us happiness, yet we resist or fear the experiences that bring us pain. The Buddhist teachings encourage us to see both as necessary parts of the journey, for one cannot exist without the other. the true nature of attachment. We must dig deeper into what attachment really means. Many people believe that attachment is a bond between a person and an object, but the Buddha taught that attachment originates in the mind. It is the mental and emotional grip we have on people, possessions, and outcomes that causes suffering. The attachment isn't about the physical object itself, but our expectation of it. Take the example of a family heirloom, like a valuable piece of jewelry. This object may hold sentimental value and bring joy when admired. However, if we become fixated on never losing it, our joy transforms into anxiety. We worry about misplacing it, having it stolen, or it losing its shine. The jewelry itself is neutral. It is our desire to keep it forever that creates suffering. By practicing non-attachment, we can appreciate the beauty of the heirloom while understanding that it may not always be with us. The cow and the rope, a deeper analysis. The earlier story about the cow and the rope is a powerful metaphor. Let's analyze it more deeply. When we hold on to the rope, thinking we can control the cow, we cause ourselves pain. The cow represents our desires and fears, and the rope is our illusion of control. By gripping the rope tightly, we believe we can direct our life's outcomes. But when we let go, we release the expectation that we can dictate what happens next. Consider a real-life situation where this metaphor applies. Picture a parent who has spent years guiding their child, hoping they will grow up to be successful, kind, and happy. The parent holds on to the hope that the child will fulfill all these dreams. But as the child grows, they may choose a path the parent never imagined. The more the parent tries to control the child's decisions, the more strained the relationship becomes. By learning to let go, the parent can support and love their child unconditionally without the burden of unmet expectations. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on caring. It means loving fully while understanding that we cannot shape the future to our liking, cultivating mindfulness to aid in letting go. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment. It allows us to notice when we become attached to a particular outcome and gently redirect our focus. One effective way to cultivate mindfulness is through meditation. A simple breathing exercise can be transformative. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, acknowledge them and let them pass, like clouds floating in the sky. This practice teaches us to detach from our thoughts and see them for what they are, temporary and ever-changing. The Buddha's own journey of letting go. Let's explore a historical story from the Buddha's life that exemplifies the power of letting go. Before he attained enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama was a prince surrounded by luxury and comfort. Yet, he realized that all his worldly pleasures could not shield him from suffering. He left his palace, family, and riches to seek the truth. This was an immense act of letting go. He gave up his royal identity to become a wandering monk, enduring hardships and doubts along the way. His journey was a testament to the belief that true freedom comes not from clinging to power or possessions, but from understanding the nature of existence. By embracing impermanence and shedding attachments, he achieved a state of deep peace and insight, which he shared with the world as the Buddha. Real-life stories of letting go. A businessman's journey. Consider the story of a successful businessman named Alex. Alex built his company from the ground up and poured his heart and soul into it. When the market crashed and his company faced bankruptcy, he felt like he had lost his identity. In his despair, he turned to a Buddhist teacher who told him, "You are not your success, nor are you your failure. Both are temporary waves in the ocean of your life." Alex learned to redefine his sense of self and started a new venture, this time without attachment to the outcome. He found joy in the process rather than the result. A woman's loss and acceptance. Another story is that of Maria, a mother who lost her son in a tragic accident. Her grief was immeasurable, and she felt she could never let go of the pain. A friend introduced her to the Buddhist practice of loving kindness meditation. Through this practice, she learned to send love and peace to her son's memory and to herself. She didn't let go of her love for him, but let go of the suffering caused by her desire to change the past. This acceptance allowed her to cherish his memory without being trapped in sorrow. Practicing non-attachment in everyday life. So, how can we incorporate these teachings into our daily routines? Start with small steps. Declutter your space. The act of decluttering can be a physical manifestation of letting go. As you donate items you no longer need, reflect on the impermanence of material possessions. Gratitude journaling. Each evening, write down 3 things you are grateful for, acknowledging that they may not be there tomorrow. This practice helps you appreciate life's gifts without clinging to them. Mindful conversations. When engaging with loved ones, be fully present. Listen without planning your response or trying to control the direction of the conversation. This can deepen your relationships and reduce attachment to outcomes. The parable of the mustard seed. One of the most touching stories from the Buddhist tradition is that of Kisa Gotami. Kisa lost her only child and was devastated. In her grief, she went to the Buddha begging him to bring her child back to life. The Buddha told her to find a mustard seed from a household that had not experienced death. She went from house to house, but every family had lost someone. Through this journey, Kisa realized that suffering and loss are universal. She let go of her attachment to changing the past and found solace in the shared human experience. This story illustrates that letting go is not about forgetting or dismissing our emotions. It's about finding peace in the shared reality of impermanence and understanding that we are not alone in our suffering. Why non-attachment leads to greater joy. You might wonder, if we let go of our attachments, does life become dull and devoid of meaning? The opposite is true. Non-attachment allows us to experience life more fully. By not clinging to fleeting moments, we become more open to new experiences. We learn to savor the present without the burden of expectation. Think of a child playing with a balloon. The child enjoys the balloon's beauty and the joy it brings. If the balloon floats away, the child might feel momentary sadness but quickly moves on to another source of wonder. As adults, we forget this childlike ability to let go and move forward. By practicing non-attachment, we can rediscover that joy. Dealing with grief through Buddhist teachings. Grief is one of the most challenging emotions to navigate. When we lose someone we love, the pain feels insurmountable. Buddhism offers a compassionate approach to dealing with grief. The Buddha taught that grief is a natural response to loss, but clinging to it perpetuates our suffering. A practice called Tonglen can be helpful. It involves breathing in the pain of loss and breathing out compassion and healing. Not just for yourself, but for all who are grieving. This practice reminds us that our pain connects us to the human experience, and that by sharing compassion, we can begin to heal. learning to let go of expectations in relationships. Our relationships often cause us the most attachment, and, consequently, the most suffering. We expect our partners, friends, and family to behave in certain ways, to meet our needs, or to stay with us forever. But relationships, like everything else, are impermanent and unpredictable. Consider a couple who has been married for decades. The wife realizes one day that her husband has changed. He no longer shares her interests or goals. She feels a sense of loss and clings to the idea of who he used to be. By learning to let go of her expectations and accepting her husband as he is now, she can find new ways to connect and appreciate him. This doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment, but understanding that people evolve, and our love for them must evolve too. The freedom found in letting go. When we let go of attachments and expectations, we experience a profound sense of freedom. This freedom doesn't mean detaching emotionally from everything around us. Instead, it means being fully present in our experiences without trying to control or change them. It's about loving deeply, but with the awareness that nothing is permanent. This allows us to enjoy the beauty of the present moment while understanding that life is in a constant state of change. Let's delve deeper into how this freedom transforms our daily lives. Finding joy in the simple things. When we practice non-attachment, we start to appreciate the simple pleasures in life. Have you ever noticed how a sunrise can be breathtakingly beautiful, even though it's fleeting? By accepting the impermanence of the sunrise, we savor its beauty in the moment, without wishing it would last forever. This is the essence of living fully and joyfully. Imagine sitting in a park, feeling the cool breeze on your face and watching children play. If your mind is cluttered with worries and attachments, you'll miss these moments. But if you're present and free from expectations, even the smallest experiences can bring immense joy. This is the magic of non-attachment. It opens your heart to the wonders of everyday life. Non-attachment and emotional resilience. One of the greatest benefits of letting go is emotional resilience. When we're attached to specific outcomes or people, our emotional state becomes dependent on things beyond our control. If things don't go as planned, we experience disappointment, anger, or sadness. But when we cultivate non-attachment, we become more adaptable and resilient. Take, for instance, a person who has spent years preparing for a promotion at work. If they don't get it, the disappointment can be crushing if they are attached to that outcome. However, if they practice non-attachment, they may still feel sadness but will recover more quickly, knowing that their self-worth isn't tied to external achievements. This mindset enables them to embrace new opportunities with a sense of curiosity and openness. Real-life story of resilience. Let's look at the story of Emily, a young artist whose dream was to have her paintings exhibited in a prestigious gallery. She worked tirelessly for years, pouring her heart into her art. When the gallery rejected her work, she was devastated. For weeks, she couldn't bring herself to paint. Then, she remembered the teachings of impermanence and non-attachment she had learned in a meditation class. Emily realized that her love for art shouldn't be tied to external validation. She started painting again, this time for the joy of creation rather than the hope of recognition. Ironically, her new work, created with a free and joyful spirit, was later discovered by another gallery that appreciated her unique style. Emily's story is a testament to the power of resilience that comes from letting go. Practical exercises for letting go. The rock exercise. Find a small rock and hold it tightly in your hand for a minute. Notice how your hand starts to feel tense and uncomfortable. Then, release the rock and feel the relief. This exercise symbolizes the tension and pain we create when we hold on to attachments and the freedom that comes when we let go. Mindful walking meditation. As you walk, pay attention to each step and the sensation of your feet touching the ground. With every step, mentally repeat, "I let go." This practice helps reinforce the idea of releasing attachments with each breath and step you take. Reflective journaling. At the end of each day, write down one thing you felt attached to and explore why. Then, write about how you can practice letting go of that attachment. This exercise can help you become more aware of your attachments and develop a strategy for releasing them. Exploring Buddhist wisdom on suffering and attachment. The Buddha's teachings on the Four Noble Truths provide a foundation for understanding why we suffer. The first noble truth states that life is filled with suffering, dukkha. The second noble truth explains that suffering is caused by our attachment and craving, tanha. The third noble truth offers hope. By letting go of attachment, we can end our suffering. Finally, the fourth noble truth outlines the Eightfold Path, a guide for living a life free from attachment and filled with wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Let's break this down further. The Eightfold Path includes principles such as right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, and more. Each of these principles helps us cultivate a life of mindfulness and non-attachment. For example, right understanding encourages us to see things as they truly are, acknowledging that everything is impermanent and interdependent. Right thought reminds us to let go of desires and cultivate thoughts of compassion and loving kindness. Historical context of Buddhist teachings. Buddhism has a rich history that provides context for these teachings. When the Buddha first shared his insights, he was addressing the existential suffering of humanity. People in ancient India, like today, struggled with attachment to wealth, power, and relationships. The Buddha's wisdom transcended cultural and temporal boundaries, offering a universal truth about the human condition. One famous story from the Buddha's time involves King Pasenadi, a ruler who was deeply attached to his power and possessions. The king once visited the Buddha, troubled by the fear of losing his wealth and influence. The Buddha gently reminded him that all things, even kingdoms, are impermanent. This teaching led the king to reflect on his attachments and seek a more meaningful way of living. Applying the teachings in modern life. How can we, in the 21st century, apply these ancient teachings? Start by examining your relationship with technology. Many of us are attached to our phones, constantly checking social media for validation. Try a digital detox for a day, and notice how it feels to let go of that attachment. You might experience discomfort at first, but over time, you'll likely feel more present and connected to the real world around you. Another modern example is our attachment to success. Society often equates worth with achievements, leading to anxiety and burnout. By practicing non-attachment, we can redefine success as personal growth and fulfillment, rather than external accolades. This shift can lead to a more balanced and meaningful life. Buddhist concepts of self and non-self, anatta. One of the most challenging yet liberating teachings of Buddhism is the concept of anatta, or non-self. The Buddha taught that the idea of a fixed, unchanging self is an illusion. We are constantly evolving, and clinging to a rigid sense of identity causes suffering. Understanding this can help us let go of ego-driven attachments. Consider the case of someone who identifies strongly with their career. If they lose their job, they may feel as though they've lost their identity. However, by embracing the concept of non-self, they can see themselves as more than their profession. They are a dynamic being, capable of reinventing and rediscovering themselves in new ways. The paradox of control. Another key lesson in letting go is understanding the paradox of control. We often believe that we can control everything in our lives, from our careers to our relationships. But the truth is, most things are beyond our control. This realization can be frightening, but also liberating. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to manage the uncontrollable. A powerful example comes from the world of sports. Imagine a tennis player who becomes obsessed with winning. If they focus solely on the outcome, they may become tense and underperform. However, if they let go of the attachment to winning and concentrate on playing their best, they often perform better and enjoy the game more. This mindset can be applied to any area of life, from work to relationships. The ripple effect of letting go. When we practice letting go, the benefits extend beyond ourselves. Our inner peace can positively influence those around us. Imagine a leader in a high-stress workplace who remains calm and composed, even during a crisis. Their non-reactive demeanor sets the tone for the entire team, creating an environment of trust and stability. This is the ripple effect of non-attachment. By freeing ourselves from the chains of expectation, we inspire others to do the same. The journey of letting go. Letting go is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey. It requires patience, self-compassion, and continuous practice. The Buddha's teachings offer a roadmap for this journey, guiding us toward a life of freedom, joy, and deep connection. As we learn to release our attachments, we make space for new experiences and discover a profound sense of peace. May you all find the strength to let go and the wisdom to embrace life as it is, with an open and compassionate heart. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of letting go according to Buddhism. If you found this content meaningful, consider sharing it with someone who might benefit. Until next time, may you be well and happy. Namaste.